18th of October, Rabbi Moore, Hashavua Vayera.
Yes, about this question. Just 1 second. Okay. About this question, why was it that the third Malach, the Malach who was given the task of destroying Sodom, why did he come to visit Avraham Avinu?
Oh, yeah, I remember that question.
Right, that was my question. I think you had another question. I don't remember what it was. Okay. Yeah, so what I want to say is as follows. We mentioned in Parshas Bereishis this concept that Malachim, even angels, they're not robots. An angel's not a robot. An angel is, and the mystery of Hashem has been given a task, particular task to fulfill, but they do have a mind of their own. Every Malach has a mind of his own. The thing is, I compared it to what is pshat is that the Malach for sure is going to carry out the will of Hashem. It's like I gave an example. It's only an example, so the example can't be extended necessarily to all extents. But give an example, you put somebody next to an electrified fence, and it says big warnings there, high voltage, danger of immediate death, and you tell him to touch the fence. Is he going to listen to you?
I'm sorry, who did you put near the fence?
A human being, a person.
Uh-huh.
Person, right? A normal, intelligent person.
Probably not going to listen to you.
Yeah,
He's not going to
hope
listen to
not.
you. Right? So you hope not. So what's pshat? He has free choice. You cannot say he doesn't have free choice. He has free choice. But his knowledge of the fact that if he touches the fence, he's going to get zapped immediately, and that's going to be the end of him. That is withholding him from entertaining any other possibility than not touching the fence. Okay, so Malachim in that respect also are in that situation that they technically have a choice whether to, yes, fulfill the word of Hashem or not, but their knowledge that this is the will of Hashem, and that is the only thing that exists, and anything against that is impossible to entertain bichlal such a possibility. Therefore, they will carry out the will of Hashem. But what the point is as follows. What about the aspect of motivation? Does a malach need motivation? Or I'll put it this way, you're going to say need motivation? Maybe he doesn't need motivation, he will carry out anyway. But does a malach benefit from motivation? And I mean as follows, what I will explain to you as follows. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to destroy, or did destroy Sodom? He sent these angels to destroy Sodom. Well, one was to save Lot, the other one was actually to destroy Sodom. Why did Hashem want Sodom annihilated, completely destroyed, that there was absolutely nothing left of it? Why was that so? What was so bad about Sodom that Hashem wanted its total annihilation?
Well, I think it says it in the Torah, doesn't it?
It says, that's what it says. They were bad and sinful to Hashem ma'oid, in an extreme manner.
Right.
There's the pasuk say. Here it doesn't actually say that over here. Vayom Hashem zakas Sodom v'Amor ki rabo v'chatosom ki chovdo ma'od. But previously it says when Lot chose to move to Sodom, I think that's what it says.
It says here in my English, the wailing concerning Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin is so very grave.
That's Pasuk Chof, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I'm going back to last week's Parsha. Where is it? Yeah. Chapter 13, Pasuk 13. Yud Gimel, Yud Gimel.
People of Sodom were wicked and sinful
Against Hashem,
against Hashem
Ma'od,
exceedingly.
exceedingly. Okay? So, can't remember where I heard this explanation. But
But this is earlier. This is not at the time of the destruction.
Right. This is termed, it's already then when Lot went to live there. So the Torah is describing what a wrong move that was, because he went to join together or to be in the proximity of these totally evil people. Now, I once had a pshat, not pshat, it was not pshat, but an explanation of what was so bad about Sodom. But the Chazal say, the Maisa, that people would come, any guest that would arrive in Sodom had very slim chance of coming out alive. Because if they would put him in a bed, besides they wouldn't give him to eat, but they put him in a bed, and if the bed was too long, they would stretch him. And if the bed was too short, they would cut off his feet. Anyway, what was the idea behind it? That's okay. They were pretty bad, evil people. Anyway, so I'll tell you. This is the pshat, and I'll tell you another story connected to it afterwards. In Sodom, they were against doing chesed, particularly against doing chesed. Besides being, doesn't say necessarily about arayas and other things, and avodah zarah that they were particularly sinful. The main point which the Torah singles out, which the Medrash brings out, was the way they were anti-chesed. They did not do, not only didn't they do chesed, any guests who arrived in Sodom were given according to the people of Sodom's, how should I say it, according to their belief, right? They were given a very rough ride. What was the idea behind that? So the pshat I once heard, Shem Rav Scheinberg, was that we find in the Gemara, Koifin al Midas Sodom. That in the Mishnah in Avos, the Mishnah in Avos says, Shali Shali, v'shalcha shalcha, mine is mine and yours is yours. Some say this is like an average person's way of behavior. This is the midah of Sodom. Now, when some people say it's the average, some people say it's midah Sodom, like there's a big difference between the two. So let me explain as follows. Hashem created everybody. Hashem created tall people, small people, fat people, thin people, rich people, and poor people. Now, you're going to understand that not everybody, if there's a society, okay, there's a society that runs, that let's say a government would come along and a society would say, no, everybody has to be average height. There's no such thing as tall people and small people. Everybody should be average height. And they go about making sure that everybody gets, tall people have been operated on, that they have make their legs shorter. And shorter people they have operated on, they make sure that they're stretched and they are longer. Now, what kind of people do you think they think they're totally mad, right? And you'll be right, because Hashem made tall people, Hashem made small people. Hashem made larger, fatter people, Hashem made thinner people. Came along in Sodom, and Sodom says as follows: if Hashem made rich people and Hashem made poor people, right, then giving charity and supporting these poor people is going against the will of Hashem. If Hashem decided that the rich person should be rich and the poor person should be poor, how can we go ahead and do chesed and tip the balance? That's going against the will of Hashem.
You frozen, Rabbi? Ah, shoot. Ay, 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 ay.
Do you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, we hear you
you're
now.
back.
Sorry?
Yeah, you
We-
froze
we-
for a while.
So what was wrong? What was wrong with Midas Sodom?
I said, what mine is mine and what's yours is yours.
Exactly. That's what their thing is. That's the way Hashem created us. Why should I have to give a rich man and say, I've got to give tzedakah, give charity to a poor person to support him? Why should that be? You parasite. We've had all these epithets thrown at people who are supporting, sponging on the state. I'm not going into all the... but the chayla, that was Midas Sodom. Midas Sodom, it's my hard-earned money. Why should I have to give it away?
Problem is, that's the basis of capitalism.
You're right, but it depends where capitalism ends, and I won't go as far as Aryanism begins.
Well,
Okay.
communism or socialism is
So, sorry?
the counterpoint to that is not Aryanism, it's communism or socialism.
Well, okay, so let's trade in between. And that's what Judaism preaches is as follows. You're right. The person, as far as his own business opportunities, the way he have a free market to where the business world is concerned, person, we believe in capitalism, or should we say, not necessarily for the tachlis of capitalism, but certainly we believe in a free market. Person can have free opportunity to earn as much money as he wants, and everybody has an equal opportunity as far as that is concerned. But then there's a mitzvah of chesed, and this is what Sodom was against. They were anti-chesed, meaning they wanted to say, if and now, according to the laws of nature, one man has become rich and the other one has become poor, how can I go against these natural course of events, which are God ordained, and change things? Or I should be required to change things that the rich man must support the poor. And this is what Avraham Avinu was machadish, because Avraham Avinu was midas hachesed. Avraham Avinu was midas hachesed. That means he understood that be'etzem, we have to emulate everything of Hashem does for us. We have to emulate those midas. Mahu rachum afator rachum. Mahu chanun afator chanun. And most, I should say, the strongest one, which is what Avraham Avinu was his main, the main thrust of his message to the world was, Hashem is a God of chesed. Everything he does for us is a kindness. And we have to repay him with chesed. What does it mean, chesed? Hashem wants the world to run in such a way that there is some rich people and there's some poorer people. And in the same way Hashem provides for us, where really we're not doing anything for him, so too the rich man has to give tzedakah to the poor man, and the person who's more fortunate has to give to the less fortunate, because we have to emulate Hashem's midas.
Mm.
Whereas Sodom preached, no chesed, because their, shall we say, their idol, their deity, right, deity or whatever you want to pronounce it, was nature, the survival of the fittest. That's the way Hashem created the world. They call it a God or whatever. The world was created that there should be a principle of the survival of the fittest. In fact, in this connection, somebody told me he was present at the time. In Rav Scheinberg, Zechon Livracha, was teaching Bava Kama in the Sukkos in Bava Kama about the Gemara has a discussion over there about if I have an item of property which I don't rent out at all, maybe I'm waiting for it, whatever, I keep it empty, and somebody else comes along and he says, listen, I've got nowhere to live. Can you let me stay in your property for payment, without payment, whatever? To refuse, right, is midas sedon. Now, we're not talking about a case where I would get money for it otherwise, because then it's causing me a loss, a monetary loss. But this property, this piece of property of mine would be sitting empty otherwise, and I would not getting any financial gain from it. And now you want to come along, somebody else comes along and says, I've got nowhere else to live, can I stay in your property? For me to answer and says, I'm sorry, no, it's mine. You can't live there. That is midas sedoi. 1 second.
That's a rather rare occurrence, though.
Sorry?
I said that's rather rare when apartments
You're
are.
right. I'm not saying whatever. I gave an example of property of an apartment or something like that. It is pretty rare, because if I have apartments are things you rent out, you make money from. Okay, I'm not saying that, but let's say I've got a 24-room mansion. Okay, never dream of renting out any rooms. And this poor guy comes knocking on the door and he says, listen, I've got nowhere to sleep. I'm left without, destitute, without nothing. Can I stay in your apartment? Can I stay in your house? He says, I'm sorry, I've got no room. No room? That is midas doing, not to let him put him up. I'm not going into things. I'm just the pure, taking the very basic facts involved. That is midas doing. Not to do chesed to somebody, merely the fact that what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours, that is midas doing. And it's not what I mean by midas doing is that there's no, chesed doesn't come into my lexicon. Meaning, doing chesed means that I'm giving you something of mine, which to you, which technically you didn't pay me for it, you don't really deserve it. I'm giving it to you purely because I have a obligation, a mitzvah obligation to do chesed to a fellow Jew. Okay? Now, when this malach, so I'm going back to so therefore, when what should we say angered HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the degree that he said that Sodom has to be annihilated, was this fact that the whole doctrine of Sodom was anti-chesed. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why Hashem consulted with Avram to see if he had anything to plead on their behalf. Because Avram was the one who preached the doctrine of Chesed in the world. He was the one who, should we say, publicized, made it known, Bechlal, that this is Hashem's unique midah of Chesed, and this is the underlying principle of everything that Hashem does in this world is midas HaChesed. So what I want to say is as follows. You know why the Malach was sent to Avraham Avinu? Because the Malach had been told, listen, your job is to destroy Sodom. So the Malach could have asked, okay, they don't do Chesed, but so what? So Hashem sent the Malach to, I want you to see for whom I created the world. Who is my ideal creation? I want you to see this man, Avraham Avinu, in action. I want you to see him doing Chesed. This is what the world, this is the world I created. For this purpose, I created the world, that there should be people of doing Chesed. And this Sodom, who is totally anti-Chesed, that has to be destroyed. So I'm not sure whether it's about a motivation, that Hashem was instilling motivation into the Malach, but it's Hashem wanted that the Malach should see Avraham Avinu in action before he goes ahead and carries out the Hashem's mission to destroy Sodom. Because Sodom was the total antithesis of what Avraham Avinu stood for and what Hashem stands for. Okay?
You said earlier, Rabbi, that a malach is not a robot.
Right.
There are many different kinds of malachim. Are you talking about all of them, or are some of them robots and some of them not?
I would venture to say that none of them are, but my knowledge of these inyanim is not enough to say I can give you a definite answer.
The reason I'm asking is because I heard a talk one time, and I don't remember the source. I don't know if it was a rabbi or not, so I don't know how authentic it is. But the statement was made that gravity is a malach. And
so that's what I would agree with you, is that just like whether that's when I mentioned in Parshas Bereshis, whether you put a seed of grass in the ground and then it should sprout grass, right? Is that a malach or not?
Right.
So the same idea is that how could it be that the seeds, which were supposed to produce fruit, and the bark itself, the wood of the tree, was also had the taste of the fruit, and it did not fulfill the will of Hashem, the command of Hashem to do so? Well, if it's a robot, how's that possible anyways? How is it possible that if it's a malach and that malach has a mind of its own, then that's something which can be understandable. Why it did it, that's a separate issue. I'm not going into that. But the actual concept that the malach is making a decision, a calculated decision to, yes, Hashem told me to do this, and I'm going to do it.
So how would that fit in with the idea that gravity is a malach?
Because every time you take something and drop it, right? Kosh Baruch Hu tells the koichas which are in the world, okay, get into function and let the it's a force, they call it the force, the draw of gravity. The Kosh Baruch Hu says, okay, this Mr. Malach of gravity, now draw that object to you.
Is gravity capable of saying, I'm not going to do it this time?
it would be technically capable, but only once in history has ever happened that the Malach did not do what Hashem did, and that was the case of the grass, of the fruit, the seeds of the fruit.
Isn't there a discussion that the sea argued with Hashem?
About Kriyas Yamsuf, there's an interesting. It says that the Chamorah Pinchas ben Yoel, where is it? Yeah, who was it? Wanted to cross over the river.
Yeah, he wanted to cross over the Jordan, and the Jordan refused.
Right. I had a Gemara not so long ago. I can't remember where it was. So he said, the Tano and Amoira it was. He says, I'm going to fulfill the word of Hashem. So the other one, the river said, I'm also going to. There was a whole discussion between them. There was a whole dialogue between them.
Right.
I don't remember the details, but you see from there, Lemaisa, that the river flowing on its path is not something, a foregone conclusion. It was the river was doing it. The Malach, whoever it was, the force of the river, which was there making it flow in a certain direction, was as a result of its fulfillment of the word of Hashem.
My understanding is the idea of the seven heavens is that Hashem didn't just create the world and set it spinning, so to speak, but rather Hashem created a whole structure of step-by-step separations between us and him, Kiviyachol.
Right.
And that Malachim are part of that whole structure, that spiritual structure.
Could well be.
And in that context, we have the idea that gravity is basically the laws of science. All of the
Okay,
principles.
that I don't know. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. That's already more involved Kabbalistic concepts, which I'm not familiar with.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Okay, let's continue. Where were we up to? Shlosha.
We're up on Pasuk 2.
Pasuk 2. Yeah.
We were talking about
Right.
if a person
Okay, who is reading Pasuk 2? Meir, I think you were reading?
see anything.
Pasuk 2, I think. Teida lecha. Okay, let's start the Rashi again. Vinei shlosha anoshim. Meir?
I'm here.
The Rashi on Pasuk 2.
Okay, 2. Vayisa eina vayar v'hinei shlosha nashim nitzavim alav v'yavo v'yarei
Vayar.
vayaratz likratam mipetach haohel v'yishtachu artza. Okay. So he lifted his eyes and he saw.
But he looked up and saw. And behold, Shloisha Anoshim, there were 3 men. Yes?
Right.
Nitzavim alav.
Standing.
Standing alav, which really means right in front of him, right next to him. Rashi's going to point this out. Okay, Vayar, and he saw again. So we say, observe, Rashi's going to point this out as well. Vayoratz likrosam, he ran towards them, which obviously presents, 1 second, they were standing next to him. So
Yeah, how can he run?
We'll see in Rashi about that.
Yeah.
Okay, Mipesach from the entrance of the tent, Vayishtachu arza, and he bowed down to the ground. What's his name? Just disappeared. Steve just disappeared. Okay. Let's see the Rashi here again. Okay.
Okay. V'hinei shlosha nashim. So behold, there were three men. Echad levaser et Sarah. One to tell about Sarah. V'echad lachfoch et Sodom. Oh, that's the one who was going to
Destroy Sodom.
destroy Sodom. Okay, the echad l'rapot et Avraham, and one to heal Avraham. Okay, she'ein malach
Carry on, yeah?
echad oseh shtei shlichuyot.
Because one angel cannot carry out two missions.
Missions, assignments. Okay,
Right.
okay.
By the way, the Medrash says these three angels, the first one, Echad Avasei Sarah, was Michoel.
Ah,
Echad Rapach Sedoim was Gavriel, and Echad Rapach is Avraham was Raphael. As we say them in Krishma Lamitzah.
right.
He said, Mimini Michoel, Mismoili Gavriel, Milfonai Oirel, Me'acharai Raphael, Al Roshi Shchinas Ke. But Akopanim, those are the four Malachei Ashores, known as Michoel, Gavriel, Oiriel, and Raphael. So those two, so Oiriel is not mentioned over here, okay, because there were three. Those were the three angels who were sent on this mission. Okay, Teidalacha. Now, so now bring your proof that they were actually angels and not real men. Teidalacha shekei.
Ein b'chol haparasha hu maskiran. Okay. Shekain b'chol. That the whole parsha talks about.
Maskiran beloshen rabbi.
Oh, b'lashon
The
rabbi.
entire section, and when it refers to the malachim, refers them to them in the plural.
Oh,
It says vayochelu.
they should eat. They ate. Okay.
Right.
Vayomru elav. They said to him, okay. U b'surah.
And actually, the announcement which the Malach said, told the news which he told Sarah.
Okay, Vayomer. It says that's a singular though. He said,
right. Shoiv oshuv elacha, I will return to you.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, so that's a singular. So it's only one Malach gave over the tidings to Avram that Sarah was going to have a child.
Okay. And,
regarding the overturning of Sodom, I am not able. So you see, it was one Malach who was actually doing the job of destroying Sodom.
oh, okay.
Okay. Now, Rashi continues, adds another point. Raphael, Sheripa es Avram, Raphael, who was the Malach who healed Avraham,
Right.
Halach misham lahadsiles Lot. He went from there to save Lot. Hu shenema vayehi koitziom oisam achutza. It was when he took them out side, vayoyma, and he said, even though there were two malachim there, there was only one who was speaking. And he only one who took them outside. He molet al nafshecha. Lomadita, from which you learn, she'echad haya matzil. Only one malach was the actual one who carried out the salvation, the act of saving Lot and his family.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue. Nitzavim alav.
Okay, Nitzavim alav. So they stood before him. Lefanav, in front of him.
It literally means they stood upon him, right? Olav means upon him.
On him.
So Rashi says, no, it doesn't mean that. It means lefanov. Avaloshin nikiyahi klape hamalochim, which means that Malachim are normally considered on a higher level than human beings, so they weren't standing on the ground; they were standing above him.
Okay.
Okay.
Kimova love mate minashe.
Okay, I actually don't have that.
Oh, okay. So let me go on. Aval lashon nikiyahu kilape malachim.
Right.
So
It's
this.
a more respectful form of expression to say that not to equate the malachim with human beings, to say that they were standing upon, or not upon, standing above Avram Avinu. Okay, let's do it. There's quite a bit of long Rashi, but let's try to do that to finish off. Vayar and Vayar. It says twice Vayar. So Rashi asks, Ma'u Vayar Shnei Pam. Right? It says he saw, and then he saw again. It says he saw, and there were three men standing next to him, before him, and then he saw and he ran towards them. Okay? Shnei Pam. Harishon Kemashmoy. First one is understood literally. Vasheni Loshen Havana. The second one, when he saw, means he didn't actually see something physically new, but he understood. He saw they were standing. After walking, they stood, but they remained standing there and didn't come closer to him. He understood that they didn't want to bother him. The Kodam hu v'rotzli cross, and that's why he got up and ran towards them, that they should come in. Okay? Now, Rashi's got a question. If they wanted to respect Avram, they should at that point come to, not remain standing there, but they should have come to meet him, because they're making Avram Avinu run. So that Rashi says, and even though they knew that he's going to come out to meet them if they remained standing and they didn't come closer to him, nevertheless they remained standing there to show their respect for him, to show that they didn't really want to come in because they didn't want to trouble him. Okay, let's just finish off. When they saw, initially when they came close to Avram Avinu's tent, they saw he was untying and tying his bandages. Therefore, they held back from coming closer. When he saw that they were holding him back from coming to the tent, so therefore he ran out to meet them.
Okay.
Okay, I think we'll stop here.
Very good.
We'll continue tomorrow.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Have a great day.
Okay, you too now.
See you, Mayor.
Okay, bye now.